Cats. Just like in real life, Pokemon is full of them, with so many different types. Big, small, cute, ugly. But there are 6 types we have yet to see these little fur babies become. So let's fill them with some perfect cat Pokemon. Meow everyone! Hey everyone, Brandon here. Hot take, but cats and cat Pokemon are some of the cutest things to exist, which makes it all the more tragic that I'm allergic to them. So just to spite my biology, we are talking about a cat Pokemon of every type. Though I said there were 6 types unfilled in the intro, there are 3 fringe cases worth discussing: water, fairy, and poison. For the water type, we have 2 Pokemon that are technically cats, Vaporeon and Suicune. Both suffer from the same problem: ambiguity. Vaporeon and all the evolutions are a vague mix between a fox, cat, and a dog. And Suicune is a general beast that's based on a leopard, as confirmed by its designer. But if you want more of a water cat, we have Pentagon from the Cornera region, who I worked with JJ-Mons on, which admittedly is a mix of animals in itself, but is more upfront with its feline features. Then we have Fairy, which has yet another evolution to represent it, Sylveon, that suffers from the same ambiguity issue. Also, Skitty and Delcatty would be perfect candidates for the normal fairy type, but I digress. For more of a literal fairy cat, we have Manticore and Fatale by Elite Four. They are both fairy poison type, based on Manticores, duh, and Femme Fatales. Speaking of poison, while these 2 could cover it, Trubbish is considered a cat by the Pokemon Company, which makes me like Trubbish even more than I already did. With those accounted for, let's talk about some types that are straight up missing. What did I just say? Anyway, let's start off with the rock type. For this, we have Cubble, the cub Pokemon, and Mount Tiger, the apex predator Pokemon. Both are rock dark types from Wesco region. We actually featured these in a fossil Pokemon of every type as well, as these cool cats are 2 of the fossil Pokemon of Wesco. To learn even more about them, check out Wesco's page or that previous of every type video. Both are linked in the description. And while you're down there, you might as well hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment to help others experience these cute cats. One of the cutest cats that was generally beloved by the internet was Grumpy Cat. Rest in peace, you sweet angel. But her legacy lives on with our next type, Ghost, which is represented by Grumper, the Yule Cat Pokemon, a pure ghost type. And its evolution, Chillinx, the Phantom Lynx Pokemon, a ghost ice type. Both are from Michael Ryan's Fearin region. As Grumper's category suggests, this line is based on the chilling mythical feline, the Yule Cat, from Icelandic folklore. It is said to prowl the frost-ridden countryside during the Christmas season and eat those who weren't gifted new clothing to wear before Christmas Eve. Appropriate for the time this video is coming out, but also incredibly terrifying. If you want to learn even more about these creepy kitties, go check out Michael's YouTube channel where he explains them and other Icelandic-inspired Pokemon more in depth. Another internet sensation comes to us through the bug type. Bugs and cats couldn't be the furthest thing from each other, so it will be insanely difficult to design one, right? Nope. Meet Kittypillar, the cat bug Pokemon, a pure bug type. This lovable little larva is based on a bug that exploded in popularity across the internet, the Chinese bush brown caterpillar, also known as the Hello Kitty caterpillar. The pun Caterpillar was too good to resist, and just look how cute this Pokemon is! Kittypillar spends much of their days resting in trees, eating double their weight in the foliage on said trees. When they feel sufficiently full, aka reaching level 20, they evolve into Caterfly, the cat-wing Pokemon, a bug flying type. The Chinese bush brown butterfly, like many of its species, uses a form of mimesis, mimicking the eyes of a predator such as an owl in hopes actual predators will leave it alone. This is the same case with Caterfly, whose big old wings look like the face and ears of a big old cat. In combination with its wings and the line across its face, the head of Caterfly looks like the nose of a cat, with the eyes being the nostrils and its spikes coming out like whiskers. Caterfly's wings are known for repelling bird Pokemon, but incidentally, they scare away other bug types too. Caterfly would most certainly get mimicry as an ability, as it fits its concept and would help make it a bit more usable outside of just being absolutely adorable. It could also get a new move called Terrain Powder, which justs the ground around Caterfly, enhancing and amplifying the terrain, summoning one of the terrain effects and changing Caterfly's type. Kind of like how natural power changes depending on the area you're in. The default places that aren't natural, such as buildings and cities, would be electric terrain. Psychic would be tranquil places like a waterfall or significant cultural areas. Fairies would be forests, and grass would be grass. While we're on the topic of dust, terrain, and the ground, let's talk about the ground type cats. So allow me to introduce Dust Tabby, the sand cat Pokemon, a pure ground type, which I worked with Elisteva076 on. Its category is actually the animal it's based on, the sand cat, a desert-dwelling feline found across much of North Africa and West Asia, and they are so stinking cute! And just look at their kittens! We took this furry friend in more of a literal direction, being a cat made of sand, with some Egyptian elements thrown in to reference its North African origins and the well-known fact that cats were venerated by ancient Egyptians. As I said, Dust Tabby's body is entirely composed of sand. It can dissolve its whole body or even just parts of it into sand and then reconstitute them at will. Who needs a litter box when you can become one? Actually, that's kinda gross. Never mind. At level 30, while in a sandstorm, Dust Tabby evolves into Terracal, the Sand Master Pokemon, also pure ground type. Terracal's name comes from Terra, meaning earth, and Caracal, a type of wildcat also found in arid habitats across much of Africa and West Asia. Its category of the Sand Master Pokemon is well deserved. It can summon and control mighty sandstorms that are even capable of taking down flying types. Caracals are known for their incredible jumping ability, primarily to hunt birds, which it bites on the back of the neck, the part that Terracal's sand protects. So it would have an ability called Catapult. While being a fantastic pun, it also allows ground type moves to hit flying types and those with the ability Levitate. From there we move on to the fighting type. Move on. What is going on with me today? For the fighting type, we have Whipper, the Whiptail Pokemon, a pure fighting type who I also worked with Kai on. Despite its mischievous grin, it is not a dark type. It's just a bit cheeky. It will use its tail to whip at other Pokemon, like that one jerk who would crack towels at you in the locker room after gym class. It doesn't hurt the Pokemon that much, it's just more annoying than anything. Kind of like the actual move Tail Whip. The real thing to watch out for is this Pokemon's headbutt. That spiky fur doesn't play around, and is inspired by a North American cryptid called the Splinter Cat. This prickly pest would headbutt trees to try to expose raccoons and bees. The act of doing this gives them a massive headache and puts them in a foul mood, which is why Whipper is so rude to other Pokemon, because it uses the same method of hunting. Hurt people, you know? Whipper's name comes from whip and purr, but also comes from whippersnapper, old slang for a young person who makes trouble. At level 24, Whipper evolves into Whack-At, the Whack-Tail Pokemon, a pure fighting type. Whack-At's defining trait is most definitely their multiple tails, which comes from what they are mainly inspired by, a literal interpretation of the weapon Cat O' Tails, being a cat with 9, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tails. Its name not only comes from whack, which its tails do, but the Glawacus as well, another North American cryptid that is a mix between a panther, a lion, and a bear with the cackle of a hyena. You can see the panther-lion mix with the coloration, and a bit of bear with the more grisly fur on its face and arms. Also, the way their tails are posed is very reminiscent of the Displacer Beasts from D&D, or the Curls from Final Fantasy. Whack-At use their tails in a lashing fury, which leaves the opponent unable to strike back, which is their signature move, Tail Flurry, a base 20 fighting type attack that hits up to 5 times, with each hit having a 20% chance to flinch. Finally, we have the Dragon type, which is one of my personal favorites of this video. Okay, I don't know what's happening, but this is seriously freaking me out. Meowt? Meow? Ugh, whatever, I give up. I'm a cat now, I guess. Anyway, I was researching what could make for a good draconic cat, and then I came upon this beauty, the Tatzelworm. It hails from the folklore of the European alpine region. It is a long, slender, lizard-like creature with the face of a cat, sometimes with either 4 short legs or 2 front legs and no hind legs. It is said to have poisonous breath and let out a high-pitched hiss. So what if we took this terrifying, toxic, scaly creature and made it adorable? Meet Tailong, the coiling cat Pokemon, a dragon normal type that I also worked with JJmons on. It is so cute and goofy, it's making biscuits on its own body. Look at those eyes! There is a twinkle there that I wish I knew how to find for myself. I adore this silly little cat. Or should I say this silly long cat, as Tailong is all tail. The long part isn't just a part of its name as a descriptor of its size, but also comes from long or lung, which are the Chinese names for dragons. The goofiness doesn't end at this Pokemon's face or vibe either. It can actually stretch out its lengthy body even further. You would think that Tailong took a bite of the gum-gum fruit with how long it can get. This elasticity allows it to be extra evasive and adapt quickly in combat. In fact, that's its ability, adaptability. Moves like Wrap and Coil would definitely be learned, as well as its own signature move, Stretchy Strike. While generally just being fun to say, it's a base 65 physical dragon type move where Tailong extends itself out rapidly, slamming into the opponent and knocking their item off of them. Basically a dragon type knockoff, but mixed with adaptability makes Tailong an adorable little terror to behold. And that was a cat Pokemon of every type. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.